Unsung narrative, young, dumb American, arrogant, throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting a fool, this embarrassing is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us, and y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Try to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defiant, cannot describe it. Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. Hit every bar, even though my bar's been the hardest. The scars on my face, and I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve, even if the beat stops my soul.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another wonderful Tuesday. A little sports nonsense and whiskey with the fellas. How we doing, gentlemen? Robert?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. It was a busy, fun weekend with the family. Definitely had a lot of memories were made. Life's been awesome. Just ready to talk some sports and some crazy nonsense this week with you guys. It's been a great week. Been a solid week for stuff. So
we got a rundown for the people this evening. Don't you worry about that. Pinky, how we doing, my guy? Little new setup, looking beautiful, fabulous behind you.
He joined the Cool Kids Club.
Everybody can see me now.
I like it. Well, look, we got a big show, okay? We got the AFC and NFC North to discuss. We got another baseball rant because it's just fun and they keep allowing me to have such fantastic things to say. And we got some F1 discussion as well. Chaos, no more. But chaos from the weekend, plenty to discuss there as well. And then obviously some nonsense. We're going to run a spoiler alert. Boys will be breaking down Fantastic Four, and I'm just going to sit here and let it ruin for me because I don't care, and I'm going to ask a bunch of questions and go see it anyways later.
Whoop, whoop.
So with that being said, are we ready to get the evening jump started, fellas?
Let's get it.
I got something for you. Talking North, Jordan Love is going to be your 2025 NFL MVP.
That I can't.
You know,
there's
moments.
this island, Caleb, that you just need to set up real estate on because you seem to be there quite a bit.
I got facts to back it up. So you guys say what you need to. Go right ahead.
I'm not commenting on this conversation. I don't have the knowledge. I'm just pointing out other things. But Pinky, break it down for us.
Oh, no.
Is he locked up?
Oh, there he is. All right. Good.
I mean, I'll comment on it. I got to get an Ethernet cable, guys. I'm going to make it happen. I already ordered it on Amazon. Look, there are moments where I don't think you could get any dumber. And then you go and do something like this. 2023 Jordan Love.
Oh, Pinky, you're killing me.
2020.
Pinky, that lag is really bad, bro.
Oh, Pinky, we need you a part of this. All right, I'm gonna have to break it down because we don't know when Pinky's gonna.
Caleb, give it to the people.
Gonna be back. So as Pinky was about to say, I believe 2023 Jordan Love, he could maybe see. I think is where he was about to go with that. Why he brought up 2023 Jordan Love. So let's start there, right? 2023 Jordan Love. He had just over 4,100 passing yards. He had, where did this go? Bear with me, I apologize. Just over 4,100 passing yards. He had 32 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Last year, we saw a regression down to 3,300 yards, 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions again.
Well, he was also injured.
Thank you. So let's talk about this. Last year, he was hurt from the very first game of the season through the year, playing with an injury. So mobility was down, and it was a leg injury. So mobility was down. Possibly, I mean, he hasn't really talked about it, but you would assume, not a good thing to do, but we do it anyways, that the ability to push off and truly drive the ball downfield using his lower body was an issue at times. The ability to move within the pocket and out of the pocket and create those extended plays that he's so well at doing, not as well either. And then let's take it a step further. Not just him and his injury with the play, but he had the youngest roster in the NFL, and his team had the third most dropped balls in the NFL. And they still almost went with the division title and possible number 1 seed in the NFC. So you're bringing back that tremendous run game. The receivers are another year of experience. You would like to think the drops won't be as big of an issue. And if you go back and watch film, you take away an interception or two and receive those plays and those yards, game situations change a whole lot. Their record could possibly be different. So, look, people are always looking for predictions. People like to call them hot takes, bold predictions. This is not a clickbait take. I can assure you. I truly believe that this is a viable candidate. Everybody's going to talk about Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Jackson. There is zero reason.
Wait, what about Hurts? Is Hurts not in that conversation?
I don't think Hurts is truly in the MVP conversation, only because his numbers aren't going to look as gaudy, if you will, as those other 3 or 4 or 5 guys, depending on how many you want to include. Is he playing at that level? Yes, I believe he is. Whether people want to say there's all that talent around him and he's just, capitalizing on that, okay, fine. But you still got to, as the quarterback, make the right decision to get the ball to the right place at the right time, and then your playmakers get to do the rest. So the knocks against Hurts are a little ridiculous. But I don't see any reason why Jordan Love, in that offense with that head coach and the weapons that they have around him, now adding what many believe is a true number 1 receiver in Golden through the draft this year, I don't see any reason why Jordan Love can't be right in that mix at the end of the season, and why he wouldn't be able to put up the numbers required and the team record needed to be the MVP of the NFL.
Understood. So, if you think he'll be MVP, do you think that puts the Packers in a playoff situation?
Absolutely. I think they're right where they were last year. They're fighting for the division with Detroit. And I think there's an argument that could be made on paper. There's no difference between the 2 rosters as far as the talent surrounding the quarterbacks. And I'd take it a step further and make the argument that Jordan Love is actually the more talented quarterback. Goff has been playing really well, and he gets the ball where it needs to go. But Pinky likes to talk about a lot. If Goff isn't protected, he can crumble pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
The play doesn't look the same.
No.
Jordan Love is one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the NFL. So if the pocket collapses, he's still got another level to his game to extend the play or just flat out take off and run. So the more you start looking at each roster, I don't think there's a whole lot of difference. Now, can you say that the top end for top end, Detroit might be slightly better? I wouldn't argue that. Is Amon-Ra St. Brown the best wide receiver out of that? I would say yes. Is Laporta the best tight end? I think him and Kraft are closer than people want to admit, but I would give a slight edge to Laporta. I think offensive lines are pretty equal. I think the defenses as a whole are very equal. Packers have a tendency not to live up to the hype, even though on paper the names and the talent say that they should be better. So that'll be interesting to see how they play this year on the defensive side of the ball. Running backs, you want to give an edge to Sonic and Knuckles, I wouldn't be mad, but
Heck yeah.
Josh Jacobs was no bum last year. He was one of the best running backs in the league. So, player for player, you might be able to argue Detroit. But I would say on a whole and what they're going to produce, I would say the rosters are pretty equal, and I would give a slight edge in the quarterback to the Packers and Love. You might also be able to give a slight edge to the Packers in the coaching situation too, because they're bringing back their staff. LaFleur and his staff are all coming back, where Dan Campbell, unfortunately, lost his entire staff, like everybody, because the assistant coaches that went and got head coaching jobs picked all the rest of the guys and took them with them to promote them.
I need you to shut your dirty whore mouth.
Look, I'm just calling it like it is. When you lose that much in the coaching side of the ball,
I don't want to talk about it.
You usually see a bit of a regression from that team the following year.
Shh, we don't want to talk about this.
So all those things considered, you want to call it crazy, that's fine. You want to call it a hot take, that's fine. But to me, it seems like a reasonable dark horse pick if you want to, and it doesn't feel crazy or that outlandish to me.
Pinkster, welcome back.
All right, so what did you guys hear?
2023 Jordan Love. So I took some liberties and assumed what you were going to say.
Go ahead.
All right, well, that's fair enough. Look, 2023 Jordan Love, you make that comment, maybe you got some ground to stand on. 2024 Jordan Love was not great. He did not play his best football, and I don't know if they made enough improvements to make it to where he can get to that level.
So what's the difference between 23 Love and 24 Love, Pinky?
I don't know what it was, man. That light went on in the last half of 2023.
Robert got that one.
Said it right away.
Robert got that one. Woo!
Injured from game 1, lower leg injury, which affected him all season. Third most drops in the NFL as a team, and the youngest roster in the NFL. So they went, what was their record last year? 13-4? 12-5, 13-4?
No, because they were behind the Vikings and the Lions last year. So no. They made the playoffs.
They were 11-6.
11-6. And that last game of the season was the one they lost that could have given them division against Detroit, right?
No.
Yes.
Detroit played the Vikings. And whoever won the game won the division.
And for the record, their last game was against the Eagles, and they lost 22-10.
Okay. So, given the fact that the team's a year older, Pinky, I don't expect them to be top 3 in the league and drop passes again. Experience matters. They bring in a true number 1 in the draft, supposedly. The run game is still going to be good, and Jordan Love is healthy. So if you feel like 2023 Jordan Love could have been that, I don't see why 2025 Jordan Love, everything looking better, could not take another step. You want to go Josh Allen, you want to go Lamar Jackson, you want to go Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, you pick one of those 4 by all means. Go for it. Put your money down on a negative 350 and walk away with, 10 cents on the dollar. I'm going to be a little bit more bold and look outside of the standards and see who else I think is capable of making that leap. And I believe Jordan Love is the guy.
Gross.
So with that being said, I like the Packers to win the division this year.
Oh, no.
Oh, man, you just set Pinky off.
No, man.
Pinky's got that stank
face. Pinky's going to pick Detroit just because
Pinky's got the stank face.
Pinky's just going to pick Detroit because that's what Pinky does.
I'm just going to go with what I know. And Dan Campbell has put together a pretty damn good squad there with a pretty good culture and a pretty good scheme. And you could argue they have the best quarterback in the division right now in Jared Goff.
I think Love is the best quarterback in the division.
I think Jared Goff. I still don't know why they chant that in Detroit, but they do. It's crazy.
Because it's Detroit.
I still think the Lions are the team to beat. The way they run the football, the way they can play better defense than they played last year. with all their players coming back healthy should help a lot. I just don't see the Packers overcoming the Lions. Now, if you want to say they overtake the Vikings and the Vikings take a step back, I can get on that bandwagon. There's a lot of reasons for that. But I do think the Lions are still the team to beat.
I think they're all sitting right around 12-5 by the end of the season, those three teams.
I think this division will cannibalize itself a little bit more than it did previously, because I don't think the Bears will be as much of a pushover as they've been in the past. The Bears
definitely
will absolutely get better. So somebody's got to come back down, and I think the Packers are going to be that team.
Listen, Caleb already spoke the sins of the world, and that's what I'm thinking, and I don't want to acknowledge it yet, so we're not going to get there. But I'm going to have to side with Caleb on this one, and Pinky will be on the island about where the Lions will be this year personally. But that'll be a conversation topic for another day, and we're moving on.
I'm concerned about Hutch. And
no, Caleb, shut up.
Look, dude, he's not even a full year removed from what's honestly a vicious leg break. Now, I expect a full recovery, and I don't expect it to be a long-term issue. But I've seen somebody have that injury personally. And I've seen the recovery time and what they were able to do. And the endurance, the distance isn't an issue, but the explosiveness takes longer to come back than people realize. And I'm not saying he won't be. I'm just saying I think we need to wait and see how explosive he can truly be. And without him, that defensive line is suspect.
Hey, now they held their own last season. They did a fantastic job without Hutch.
I'm not saying they don't have some pieces.
Now,
I'm saying without him and that pressure that he applies, it's suspect. And that's a trickle effect all the way through the secondary.
I mean, to a degree, I agree with you, but also with, as Pinky mentioned, with the culture and the team that he's built, gives those players a lot to play for. And that was very evident in the defense after they were on basically like their third string defense by the end of the season. If we're
I think they were on like fifth string by the end of the season. It was wicked.
But they still showed up and played out in any game. They did a fantastic job as a defense with that. And Hutch was if I'm not mistaken, he was the first to go. And then everybody else fell like dominoes.
What was it, like week 6 he got the injury?
I want to say like week 5 or 6, yeah. Around that time.
He was leading the league in sacks through like week 10, and he didn't play, those next 4. It was crazy.
But again, I agree with the explosiveness, but I do still think that Detroit still has a top of the line defense no matter what string it is, because Dan Campbell has built such a great team.
So let's take that a step further. I can't remember the exact stat, and I wish I had jotted it down when I heard it, but it was a quick thing. When a team loses their entire staff, like Detroit did, regression is almost imminent. Like it was like 9 times out of 10, the team sees not just like a game. We're talking like 2 or 3 for the really good teams. The bad teams, that it's an even worse situation. But you take 2 or 3 games away from Detroit because of coordinators not being as elite as the ones that left, that all of a sudden that division gets way more open. And you bring in consistency with the Vikings, which they're only changing quarterback really, and they added everything else. And the Packers are bringing everything back. So I think that plays a huge factor in the North. I still think personally all 3 teams get in the playoffs, just like they did last year. I just find it hard to believe that they don't, with how good the coaching staff, the rosters, the talent, like all 3 of those teams have a very well-rounded situation. So I would be very hard-pressed to believe one of those 3 didn't make the playoffs. If I had to pick one, though, it would be Detroit, because I feel like they're thin. They're in a position where they can't lose anybody. They're relying a lot on Jameis Jamison Williams taking a big step and finally being a legit 2, almost a 1. Their running game's always going to be solid, but they lost their starting center, a Hall of Fame center. That's going to be another big issue because you now don't have the guy calling the protections the same way. So now the new center and Jared Goff have to get on the same page and build that chemistry and make sure they're looking at the field the same way. So there's a lot of things in Detroit that I would say are prime for regression compared to the other teams in the division. And then you've got Chicago, which I think is just a dark horse. Who knows what the hell is going to happen? Reports out of camp right now are that Caleb Williams can't figure it out. Ben Johnson's offense and him are not mixing. It's camp. I feel like they're trying things to fail in order to figure out what's going to be right.
Well,
so they're going to be good come the season kind of thing, right? Like that's kind of how I feel this is playing out.
and the defense is normally ahead of you in camp anyways.
Sure.
Their stuff's usually pretty easy and set. It's not like getting 11 guys all on the same page to run an offensive play. Like
right.
Running a new offense on anyone is tough. And Ben Johnson uses a lot of shifts, man. A lot of shifts. That is, if you haven't dealt with that before, to learn that. And
yeah, Caleb Williams is going to be doing a lot more than.
I feel like Caleb Williams is like, he's going to have a much better year this year than he had last year. But I think it's the next year that we should think for that like rocket ship.
I would think that's accurate. I mean, if he does it this year, then it's no different than the rookies from last year that put all their teams ahead of schedule, right? If he goes off this year, then they're just a little bit ahead of schedule, but in a good way, because they've already got all the pieces they're looking for.
We should also consolidate and organize our thoughts because we are speaking about the NFC North, so we kind of giving our takes here and there on every team. So. Just for those that are tuning in and catching
solid
up,
well done.
We've covered a lot of the NFC North already. The only one that we really have left, I think, would be the Vikings here after we finish the Bears. So, just that way we're all on the same page.
I think you could make the argument. I will make the argument. The NFC North is the most competitive division in football this year. If the Packers, Vikings, and Lions all make the playoffs like you say they're going to, and you think the Bears are going to be pretty darn good, I think that's 4 teams that are almost better than any other division. Maybe being a homer, we pull out the AFC West in that battle.
No.
I think the Bears will be better than the Raiders.
Yes. I agree. The only reason I went is because I think their counterpart of the North is arguably just as dangerous. The kicker there is Cleveland.
We'll get there.
It's Cleveland. Well, I'm just saying you're bringing up divisions. You're talking about other ones. We're going to be talking about it.
Cleveland's going to be the turd of that division.
So we'll get there. Like you said, we'll get there. Easy. You don't need to give your talk right now. You asked for division. I'm giving you a division. Vikings. I think there's going to be a lot of people picking them to regress solely on the fact that J.J. McCarthy is the quarterback this year, and he's a rookie, first year playing. I'm going to say it again. I believe I said this last week or a week or two ago, whatever it was. Kevin O'Connell and that front office does not let Sam Darnold walk unless they are supremely confident that J.J. McCarthy can step in and give them the exact same production. I believe that 100%. And so they believe J.J. McCarthy is going to be able to play nearly the same level Sam Darnold did last year. Very close to it. If it's a little less, that's okay because they've got talent everywhere around him and they've got a solid run game. They can make up for things. But based on the fact that I feel like that's where their thinking is, I don't see Minnesota regressing at all. And they added to their defense. Their offense was already stellar. The offensive line is a little shaky, and that came out pretty good in the playoffs last year. So can they shore up some of those issues in the offseason going into training camp we're in training camp, going into preseason, and being able to work out some of those kinks that cost him in the playoffs last year. Because everybody wants to blame Sam Darnold. That offensive line was bad in that playoff game.
He did not have a lot of time to think.
I mean, look, McVay and his staff came out with that front four that they have, and Verse and who was his teammate at Florida State? Fisk, thank you. Those boys came out and went NASCAR. Like, it looked like old New York Giants, right? And they just came at Minnesota, went right through the line, right at Sam Darnold. There was nothing they were going to do. Minnesota didn't get the run game going, and it cost the whole team. They figured that out. I believe Minnesota is going to be just as good or more dangerous, and I see them as the team competing with the Packers for the division, only because I just see too many losses for Detroit for them to be as good as they were last year. It's also really hard to go, what were they, 14-3? I think last year. Like, it's hard to repeat those numbers again, too. Like, that's just the NFL. It's built that way, right? But 11-6 is still getting you into the playoffs. That's still good. 12-5 is still going to get you into the playoffs.
Well, we still have our annual hangout. I don't know when we're going to make that happen to pick all the games before the season.
Yep.
Ooh, that's right. I would just say and float the idea that we do it at our draft.
Oh, no. That's
we need an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Two very in-depth situations that cannot occur at the same time.
All right, touche.
Plus, if I'm thinking about individual players and I'm thinking about my team and my draft, and then we're going to draft again after that, because we have the couples draft right after, I do not want to be thinking about what teams are winning. So
fair.
Is Robert still in that league?
So, yeah, him and Andy are a couple now.
Oh, now, I wanted to be the couple. Andy doesn't get to keep getting in when he keeps breaking up. That's not fair. Andy should be forced to sit out a year.
Hold on. Andy keeps breaking up and whatnot and what stuff, but I also am a loner.
Well, but the thing is
I keep getting assigned mates.
But yours is like, a one-off kind of, doing what's best for you rebuild. Andy's had like 5 different partners in this league. I think it's time to let him take a break until he can find something consistent. I should have been invited. Robert and I should have been running this, not Andy. I'm just saying. I feel slighted.
Now, Robert was invited when he had a partner. Andy was invited when he had a partner. I don't kick people out of the league. So it just so happens that one of the other people that didn't have a partner that technically got partnered with Robert now has a partner. So I invited him into the league. So now we're whole.
But if that's the case and they were both in the league with partners, then there should be an open slot still for me to bring a partner.
The next couple that leaves, you and Kaylee are in.
Caleb's like, I'm taking a mental note of this.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right.
The Vikings.
Kevin O'Connell's amazing. He's a damn good coach. He really is. And Brian Flores, I will say, something about that scheme that he runs. And again, I like the fact that he's really aggressive. And I think that aggression, when you have the right players, leads to turnovers. It leads to the other team making mistakes. And good things happen when you do that. So, and their secondary, I mean, their scheme is all based on that aggression, getting to the quarterback, making the quarterback throw the ball before he wants to. Usually makes your secondary look better than it is, because they don't have to cover for 5 seconds.
Sure.
Because you're getting to the quarterback. And so I do. So I hate having to agree with you a little bit. So I will agree that your points about the Lions' possible regression makes sense. I think you can make the same case with a downgrade in quarterback play, at least this year. I don't think he's going to play as good as Sam Darnold played last year. Sam Darnold did play really well. Can Sam Darnold play really get to that level? He did, and he earned a contract from another team, right? A contract that the Vikings weren't really willing to pay. Like, that's more than we really want to pay you, Sam.
And let's be honest, though, it was based on how he played. Granted, it's a 1-year sample size, and what was before that, a lot of people were ready to bounce him from the league. I not being one of them, but a lot of people were. That's a team-friendly quarterback contract that Sam Darnold signed with the Seahawks. The only reason Minnesota didn't do it is because they had drafted J.J. McCarthy with the 6th overall pick the year before.
No. Well, yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Had they not drafted J.J. McCarthy and Sam Darnold was their guy, I believe he's still in Minnesota. I don't think that's even a question.
That's probably true. So I do see I can see a regression from the Vikings, and that's why, yes, the Packers might be able to capitalize on that. I'm not so sure about the Packers defense, though. They are very...
We talk about it every year. They are Jekyll and Hyde, right? On paper, it looks like there's talent for days. But for whatever reason, game to game, it's not there, or it could be there. But it always seems to come during playoff time. All of a sudden, they kind of figure it all out. So, yes, there's some things there that you could easily argue against me with the Packers, and I wouldn't sit here and go bullshit. I would be like, yeah, absolutely. Those are all things that you could totally counterpoints towards everything I said.
Do you know why the Lions have my stamp of approval? They are pinky approved.
Dan Campbell?
So I love when a coach knows who their team is.
Sure.
And they do not deviate. Detroit is going to run the football. Detroit is going to go for it on 4th and 1. They're going to do it. They are going to put you on your heels every game. And the one thing I do know about offenses that do that, they're always going to attack your weaknesses, which a lot of teams can't. They can't defend the run. Most teams can't. Like in today's NFL, if you can build a really good running football team, everything else is easy.
Well, look at all the teams that made the playoffs last year. Look at all the teams we just talked about. What did the Packers do great last year? Josh Jacobs ran the hell out of the ball. What did the Eagles do well last year? Ran the hell out of the ball. Right? Detroit ran the hell out of the ball. What did the Rams do well? Even though people seem to forget, they ran the hell out of the ball.
Kyron Williams had a hell of a year.
So, I mean, yeah, absolutely, Pinky. The good teams are still legitimate running teams, and the split between passing and running is a lot closer to 50-50 than people realize, even in today's modern NFL. So when you can bring those closer, control the clock, control the field, and then take your shots when you need to.
My X factor is I do think Sam Laporta did not have a good season last year where he can have a much better year this year.
If I remember correctly, he started off slow, and then I think the last 6 games he led the team in targets.
Right.
If I remember correctly. They kind of rethought that idea and got back into business with him, especially because he's the middle of the field for them. So if you can get him in the middle of the field, it then opens up those outsides for Amon-Ra or the deep ends from Amon-Ra, and then the go balls and deep posts for Williams. So you're absolutely right. He was a forgotten man in the beginning of the year, but I do, if I remember correctly, he came on pretty strong at that last third.
I believe that's correct. So that's why I still got the Lions at the top team with a slight regression. Maybe they don't go 14-3. Maybe it's more of a 12-5, right? I could see that. And again, I still think the Bears are not going to be a pushover, which also is going to bring down the other 3 teams, because the Bears are going to win some of those games that they didn't win last year, even though they played competitive for most of the games. They were competitive. Half of the third quarter to the fourth quarter, they just.
So think about this. You say they're going to cannibalize each other a little bit. I don't disagree with that. But here's the kicker. For the most part, that's probably where those teams' losses come from.
That is a very good point.
So you think, okay, if those are their losses, then you're only seeing 3, 4, maybe 5 losses total. So then again, you're looking at 12-5, 13-4, 14-3 for those 3 teams. And then the Bears, they get to 10-7, 9-8. It might not seem like a jump like people were expecting, but it could still be a very big jump, just not shown in the record just yet. So
Solid.
AFC North is going to be, I think, right with that NFC North in competitiveness. And right at the top of the AFC North, I believe unquestionably is going to be the Baltimore Ravens, which top to bottom may be the best roster in the NFL.
Let's go, Lamar.
And I believe at this point in time, Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the NFL.
Bro just needs to win. And actually, no. What needs to happen is the Ravens need to stop forgetting how to play flipping football in the freaking playoffs. Get your heads together. You've been literally dominating teams all season, and then you just forget how to play. Wake the hell up and finish the goddamn game, bro. Like,
yeah, I mean, what did they have
talent.
last year? Didn't Derrick Henry fumble in the playoffs? Mark Andrews dropped that football.
There is a whole list of shit.
Yeah, people want to keep talking about Lamar not showing up in the playoffs. I think that's
it's a team.
Thank you. I think it's an unfair criticism of Lamar. Has he had a couple down games earlier in his career? Yes. Was he the reason they didn't get through last year? No, definitely not. So I'm happy that for the most part, people are no longer calling him a running quarterback or a running back playing quarterback.
Last season proved that to a T.
Well, they should have seen it a lot sooner, but at least they're seeing it. What I'm not happy about, though, is those some people refuse to eat their crow. Refuse to admit that they were wrong and have just moved on with the conversation like nothing happened, and they weren't trying to run this guy out of the league as a quarterback for a good long while. And Pinky, you're very close to being included in that group. You have come around, but they're the ability to see beyond what he was just doing, I think, was limiting your breakdown.
I ate my crow, and yet I will still say in the playoffs, he still hasn't played his best football. I don't feel like he's taken like that step in the playoffs. It's time. There's no excuses. I think we've talked. I think
they have none. Absolutely right.
We talked about it on our Facebook page. Josh Allen and Lamar. There's zero excuses.
Yep.
It is
absolutely 100% agreed.
Like, you've got Patrick Mahomes dominating like Brady. And the worst thing about it is he has no rival right now. Josh Allen and Lamar and Joe Burrow should be true rivals to Patrick Mahomes. But Caleb, what do you got to do to be a rival?
It can't be one-sided.
Got to win them games.
Both teams have to be able to win. And I'm tired of people just saying it's a rivalry because college football is the worst with this. And I'll rant about that here in about a month. Little less than a month. But if you're going to be a rival, and I've said this before, there is no rivalries in the AFC West. Okay? Sorry, AFC West fans, but it's fact. When one team dominates for long stretches, there is no rivalry.
Which is what's happened in the AFC West for many years. You had
decades.
The that were really good for a while. Broncos were really good, and then the Chiefs have been really good lately. So it's like there's been no other team in the division to be a rival of the best team in the division at the time. Maybe that changes. We'll talk about it in a couple weeks. Maybe that changes. But yeah, right now, Lamar and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow are not a rival to Mahomes until they start winning some of these games. And not just regular season, because Josh Allen has won quite a few regular season games against the Chiefs.
He's got to show up in postseason.
I would say Lamar is not included in that rivalry right now, but I would consider Josh, Patrick, and Joe rivals. If Andy Reid is coaching the Bills 3 years ago instead of Sean McDermott, Buffalo's in the Super Bowl. Like those decisions at the end of that game were unacceptable from a head coach.
Agreed. But
Joe Burrow's beat Patrick Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl.
We're leaving our topic. We gotta close this loop and come back to it.
Well, technically,
this is where I'm going with this.
All right.
We're still in division.
Because those three are rivals, even though Mahomes is the top dog in that win column, when I look at the AFC North as a whole, I see three teams that are legit rivals: Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Baltimore. Now, historically, Pittsburgh kind of owns those rivalries, win-loss records. But Detroit, Cincy has had their moments. They've had their moments, and they've gotten a little bit more of those here recently with their current squad. Baltimore, you go back to the Ray Lewis squads and their Super Bowl runs there. They were dominating the division for a while. Same with Pittsburgh when they had a couple Super Bowl runs and they won. Cincy's kind of the redheaded stepchild, if you will, because they don't have the Super Bowl wins, but they've had enough competitive games and wins when it matters that they're in that mix as well. And I don't think there's a division that has as good a rivalry. There's only two other divisions, I think, that have rivalries, and that's the NFC East and the NFC North. I think those are the only three divisions in football that are true rivalries. Everybody else is just fake rivalries that they want to make up because they're in the same division. But those three divisions have true rivalries. And Cleveland is in a position where, and I truly believe this, Shedeur Sanders will be their starting quarterback at some point this year, and he will be able to help them finally have a legit guy behind center to build around, to where they might actually be able to enter that conversation and be competitive for the next 8 to 10 years. And then that division, without a doubt, unquestionably becomes the standard in the NFL for divisions and rivalries.
Maybe, but this year they're still getting the top 5 pick.
I don't know about that, man. People want to look. Worst to first is a common thing in the NFL. Now, I'm not saying Cleveland's doing that, but I do think Shedeur is a pretty damn good quarterback. And I think he will fit in really well with Stefanski's system.
He just needs to keep himself out of trouble.
I don't think that's a problem for Shedeur. The speeding tickets are kind of a one-off thing.
Did you not see what the Browns GM said? Or is it the owner?
The owner's an idiot. But
yeah,
he just said
about the owner on this show.
He just said Shedeur wasn't his choice. It was the GM's choice. And I heard two things with that. One, he's probably putting the GM on notice that if it doesn't work out, I'm going to let you go. And two, he's putting himself out there as being a complete idiot and unable to evaluate talent whatsoever, because then it makes it sound like Dylan Gabriel was his decision. He already came out and said Watson is his bad. So you have a track record now as an owner of awful evaluation and picks.
I don't know what he's even doing, because it was obvious that Jimmy Haslam was the guy that said draft Shedeur Sanders.
I don't think he is, Pinky.
If you looked at the war room between Andrew Berry, or that guy, and Stefanski, they did not want Shedeur Sanders. When that draft pick was made, and I watched all of it because I wanted to see my son.
I read that differently. I read that as exactly what the owner confirmed for me today. They made a pick going against the owner's wishes, and it is now on them. That's what I read. I think Dylan Gabriel was a safe choice. He was a clean-cut personality that the owner felt was good for them. That's why he was picked above Shedeur. He was trying to no longer rock the boat. I do believe Barry and Stefanski agreed on the pick over based on talent. And I still believe Shedeur is going to be starting. Look, honestly, I don't think it's going to happen, but it wouldn't surprise me if he starts week 1. More likely, I think he starts after week 6 or 7 or whenever their bye is. I haven't looked at their schedule yet, so I don't truly know. But that's their quarterback of the future, and I truly believe that. And I still have a hard time figuring out why people think he's not talented. I don't understand how you can watch him play and then evaluate him as not being able to play the position.
I mean, that's more about the hate. That's more about the hate if he's Deion's son. Deion's been his coach the whole time. He's been baby. He's been coddled. He's this, that, whatever. I will tell you, when you get sacked 50 times a year and get hit 100 times a year, you become a man. When you keep getting up, from that ass whooping, you become a man. And I just don't think that, again, I think Shedeur will be good. I just don't think it's going to matter in the wins and losses this year.
Oh, we can agree on that. We can agree on that for sure.
I think Cleveland will be bad this year, and they will get a top 5 pick, which I think will also come back around, and they will be in that draft conversation of, do they take a quarterback? What do they do? Is Stefanski still the coach after this year? If they suck this year too? And again, when you have 4 quarterbacks, what do you have?
None, based on the old NFL moniker. I think that's the stupidest thing in the world, because everybody says if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none, right? And then you go back and look at the history of the NFL. Oh man, wasn't some guy named Montana and then Young behind him? And no, I think if you're a really good team, you can prepare for those situations.
But that situation was completely different, because Montana was the guy for 4 or 5 years before they were able to get Young, and that's just because he sucked in Tampa. So that's like a weird situation. This is a situation where they literally traded for Kenny Pickett, who sucked. They went and brought back the ghost of Joe Flacco, hoping that he might be able to play some games. And then they draft 2 quarterbacks in rounds 3 and 5. Like, if you had conviction on a guy, he's your guy, he's starting, he's getting all the reps in training camp, not splitting it 3 to 4 ways.
That's what confuses me, is the way they're splitting reps right now in training camp. It makes 0 sense. And Haslam came out today, and one of the things he said with his odd comments was that it's Stefanski's call who plays. Well, if that's the case, if what I believe to be true is true, Shedeur's going to be playing a lot sooner rather than later. Right now, the coach is just appeasing the owner. That's how I feel. I could be way wrong. But I believe the look you saw in the draft room was them like, well, we just did what the owner said not to do. Let's see how this plays out. And now the coach is like, I'll let the owner's pick play ahead of him right now. We'll let this unfold a little bit. And then when it's really time to do work, I'll then push forward the agenda that I need to push forward.
Well, let's move away from the Browns.
Please do.
Because we spend way too much time on those turds.
We got some other things to talk about this evening. We need to move on.
Joe freaking Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be so awesome and miss the playoffs again.
Why?
That defense is shit, man. It wasn't good last year, and it's not any better this year.
It can't be as bad as it was last year, though, can it?
They added 0 talent to the defensive line.
Jamar Stewart.
I don't think he's talented. A guy that got a sack and a half a season.
Oh,
at Texas A&M.
Okay.
Show me something.
Well, I will say if Trey Hendrickson isn't on the field, they're screwed. So we agree to an extent.
Look, I think you would agree that you can see a lot from a college player's tape, right? And that usually when you see a lot on film of a player being successful, he's probably going to translate, right? But when a guy's not successful in college and you're just looking at size, speed, and his measurables at the combine, how often does that actually translate?
Never. Why was Jamar Stewart drafted so high, Pinky?
I don't know.
Because he was an underpants warrior. He showed out at the combine, put up a great unmeasurable performance, and got drafted based off it. He rocketed up the draft boards because of it. It happens every year. They pick somebody, they go really far up, and it usually ends up not translating.
I would have taken both of the Atlanta Falcons guys that they traded up to get 2 pass rushers in the first round. I would have taken both of those guys over Shamar Stewart. Easily. So they also got rid of Luar Diaramo, or I'm probably saying his name wrong. They got rid of him.
Defensive coordinator, he's gone.
I don't think he was a bad coordinator by any means, but the talent stacked against him. They drafted corners multiple times that didn't work out. They drafted safeties multiple times that didn't work out. They had let Jesse Bates walk. They could have signed him and kept him. He was the best thing they had because at least he'd get turnovers. So that Cincinnati Bengals defense is going to be just as bad as it was last year. The Bengals are going to score 30 points multiple times and still lose the game, just like they did last year.
It's wild because you're talking about arguably probably the best offense in the league. And if they could get an average defense, they're Super Bowl legitimate contenders.
Absolutely.
So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. One thing I want people to watch this year, and I'm hesitant. Not hesitant. That's the wrong word. I'm torn within myself a little bit when I said Lamar is the best quarterback in the league, and it is what it is right now. Joe Burrow's very close. And if you watch Joe Burrow play, and I heard this, I think it was on Get Up last week. I can't remember who said it. It might have been Orlovsky. But they were talking about how Joe Burrow is the only quarterback in the NFL right now who doesn't miss a read. He puts the ball exactly where it should go based on the play every time. And that's why he is so insanely dangerous. He can play off script, but he doesn't have to because he's constantly making the right read based on the play to put his guy in the position to go out and do work. And if your quarterback is at that level, it's going to be damn near impossible to slow that offense down. And by the end of the year, if Pinky's wrong about the Bengals, Joe Burrow's going to be your MVP. Now, I said love at the beginning of the show, and that's because I lean a little bit more towards what Pinky said and the Bengals not being able to put everything together as a team and get it done. But if they do, I don't know how – Joe Burrow's going to have an even better season than he did last year, and his numbers were absurd last year.
If the Bengals were a winning team last year and made the playoffs, he would have won the MVP.
Absolutely.
His numbers were that freaking good. I'm telling you, Joe Burrow is one of the dudes that I will pay. I kind of judge guys on like, who do I want to go watch play? And Joe Burrow is one of those guys. When the Bengals come to town, I'm going this season. I'm going to the Bengals game because I want to see Joe Burrow play live.
Solid.
We've talked about Lamar and the Ravens. We got to talk about
we got to wrap up on
just
the Steelers.
Real quick to make sure everybody's on the same page here. Joe Burrow's numbers last year: 4,900 yards, 43 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, another 200 yards rushing, and another 2 touchdowns. Like, what are we talking about? That's crazy. Crazy.
Unfortunately, though, the MVP doesn't normally go to a losing team. So,
yeah, that is true. All right, let's talk about the Steelers and let's move on. Pinky, Caleb, take it away.
Ron, he's back, baby. He's back. I don't know if they're going to win or lose. I don't know if they're going to be good or not. They're going to be interesting. I like that. The Steelers, Ron, he's saying it's his last season. He hasn't quite said it's like officially, but he said he kind of feels like this is it. This is all in. They gave TJ Watt all that money. They've went out and got they let Najee Harris go, got a new running back, Caleb Johnson. Caleb's are good dudes. So he should be all right. They got rid of George Pickens, who's probably a locker room cancer. Talent. but maybe he's not all there, right?
Replace him with DK. It's not a bad trade.
So the Steelers are one of the more interesting teams in the league. Love them or hate them.
Yeah. One of the best defenses in the league. I think Aaron Rodgers plays well enough that they are in the playoffs. Now, again, we say that, and then we always caveat it with, we got to wait until we do our records predictions, and we actually look at the schedules and decide how things play out. But I feel like they're going to be in a position to where Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing well enough. Not just well enough. He's going to be playing good football where I think he's going to be back another year.
Now, we're one of the two guys out there that think that Aaron Rodgers still played some good football last year because we saw it with our eyes. And again, I don't know how much people care. Mark Schlereth as an analyst. Mark Schlereth talked and broke it down of how good he was playing down the stretch.
Oh, you don't say.
It just didn't equal to wins.
Yep.
Which, again, when your defense is letting everybody score, you got different things. You can't run the football. Your O-line sucks. There's only so much the quarterback can do. Again,
Oh, Pinky, you want this little stat that people seem to not want to talk about for whatever
Give
reason?
it to me, baby. Give it to me.
The Jets were the second team in the league for drop passes at 40.
Ooh.
The Packers, I told you, were third. They had 33. So the Jets had 7 more drop passes, and they were an experienced team compared to the Packers. So again, people want to talk about, oh, Aaron Rodgers didn't play well, and this the season started off a little rough. We thought it would start off better. We should have known better. Coming back from the Achilles injury and everything else that comes with that, we should have known. By the second half of the season, if you take away his first half and you look at just the second half, he was playing good football, above average football, top half of the league quarterbacks. I think he only plays better this year because he's going to be healthier.
Would you agree he was playing better than 2015 Peyton Manning?
Yes. I mean, as much as I love Peyton Manning, he played awful that season.
Do you think the Jets had a defense and a coach, they could have done something?
Yep, I do. And on paper, that defense should have been way better. I think there was so much. What's the word I want to use here to try and be not as cruel as I could be?
Bad organization. Just a bad organization.
Just not well run.
So, we agree the Steelers are very interesting. I won't be shocked if they make the playoffs. I won't be shocked if they don't make the playoffs. But I think they're going to be a fun watch. So,
Agreed. You want to hear more about our breakdowns on the AFC or NFC North? You got something to say? Hit us up. We can. There's more to go on here. We're keeping it somewhat high level. Baseball. What the hell are you doing? Seriously.
Do you want to lose your job? This is how you lose your job.
Dude, look. I'm just going to break it down like this, and then we can move right on to some F1 so we can talk Fantastic Four. Baseball. Just listen to me for a second here, okay? Go home. Leave the club.
You're drunk.
Go home. Sit down, sober up, and evaluate your life choices. We are talking about a league right now where one of the star players told the commissioner to get the fuck out of his locker room because the commissioner wants to talk about a salary cap. Which, if you want to have a league that's going to be sustainable going forward, something's got to change with the salary structure because it's a joke. The floor minimum, that I don't even want to hear that it exists because it's so ridiculous. There is no salary cap, so anybody can spend anything. You really only have about 4 teams that can truly say are contenders for the World Series. You have deferred contracts. Shohei Ohtani isn't going to get paid until he retires, and then he's going to collect $1 billion. That makes no sense. Your salary structure is so ridiculous that it will ruin your league eventually if you don't change it. Now, Pinky, we know I'm pro player. So if we don't want to set a ceiling, fine. I'm not going to be mad about that. And I am so tired of these people being like, athletes shouldn't make that much when teachers and firefighters don't. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Seriously. We're not comparing professional athletes and what they make to teachers and what they make. What we're comparing and what you should be discussing is based on the industry I work in and the profits generated, am I compensated fairly? It's called capitalism, guys. It's kind of how business works.
Well, what is sports?
Entertainment. If you don't like it, stop buying a ticket. Stop turning on the TV. That is such the most ridiculously tired, weak argument. I don't want to hear it anymore. I will automatically not listen to anything else you have to say. That's not the comparison.
Movie actors, entertainers. That's all it is.
Figure out your salary structure, baseball, because as of right now, you're going to see a strike in 2 years, and it's going to hurt. And it's going to hurt bad.
It's going to be nasty.
Hey, baseball, you got an issue right now with potential gambling. You got 2 pitchers, I believe the Guardians.
Yes.
2 pitchers from the Cleveland Guardians are now suspended because of potential gambling on their own prop bets. And if it's only those 2, and you think that's where it stops, if that's really true,
out of your freaking mind.
Thank you, Robert. So now you got an even bigger issue than just your salary structures. You've got potentially a league-wide pandemic where you've got players gambling on their own stats and affecting the game because of it. Dude, anybody remember the Black Sox? Okay? That almost ruined baseball completely. It almost made it non-existent. You take that with everything else you're dealing with, done. Go ahead and strike. You will be a forgotten league. And then you have umpires calling pitches right over the center of the plate in the middle of the strike zone, a ball.
A ball? You're out of your freaking mind.
And there are still baseball traditionalists who are out there saying robot umps are not the way to go. Done. Shut the fuck up.
You just signed your freaking job away, dude.
It's ridiculous.
I love this stare down too.
Get your shit together. You're not America's pastime anymore, and you haven't been for a while. But there are things that need to change if you want to be a sustainable league and one of the top leagues in American sports still. You have 2 years to figure it out. Because if you get to 2 years and that strike occurs, the likelihood of you ever truly recovering from it again based on demographics and everything else we're seeing is probably slim to none. And this is coming from somebody who we all know, baseball traditionalists and I'm told I'm not allowed to speak on the game. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, fine. I'm still going to give you my thoughts. I'm still going to give you my opinions. And I still love the game. I don't want to see it go anywhere. But if these things don't get addressed and corrected quickly, there's going to be a whole lot bigger issue coming up for baseball.
Baseball's dumb.
All right, so that's the final thought on baseball. Now to some F1. I don't understand how Ferrari sits in second place for the Constructors' Cup and they haven't won a race. Like, I've been sitting here all day thinking about that. I'm like, how make the math make sense? Because it's not making sense.
Dude, not even a race, not even winning. They've only had, like, what, 2 podiums?
2 podiums, and they've both been Leclerc.
Yeah.
Not even Hamilton. I just don't understand. And not to mention, Ferrari came this close to not even placing on the podium this weekend. Max was there, and Leclerc almost blew it. I mean, for the rest of the weekend, I mean, it should have been a wet race, and it should have been a good wet race. But the FIA screwed the pooch on that, and we got a rolling start on top of it. Which, I mean, from what I had heard, there had been a rolling start in a few years. Which, after seeing it and just getting into the sport, I am not a fan.
It's a horrible way to start.
I mean, and that's how Piastri won. It was off of Norris's slipstream on the rolling start.
Think about this. Can you imagine if the Olympics was like, hey, the track's a little wet. We're going to do the 100-yard dash. We're going to do that with everybody starting on a jog.
Yep.
Wait, what? You're going to do what?
You get a 15-yard jog, and then you can go. Like, it is absolute. I was so mad.
How do you start a race with everybody already moving? Like, that's fair. right? Like everybody's
Now-
moving the exact same speed at the exact same time and the exact no.
Terrible. But somehow, Lewis Hamilton managed to climb the grid
11
and
spots.
get into the top 10. 11 spots. He was 18, I think, is what it was.
Yeah.
And got to 7.
After not making it past Q1 for either qualifying.
Yeah, his last qualifier did not recorded because he went out on the track. He had a terrible showing for the sprint race. So I mean, he just had not a great weekend overall.
Yeah.
And yet came out and totally stole the show.
And there's still people saying he's not a good driver. Which I don't know how you can say a 7-time champion is not a good driver. Both drivers for Ferrari have been talking about how terrible the car is this year. You watch them both do what they've been doing, and you should be like, damn, those guys can drive. But
those
instead, people are like,
they're
not that
winning
good.
races. They should be winning. And now to pivot away from Ferrari just a minute, I mean, so the two big stories from this weekend were Kimi and Lewis, because they both were struggling. Kimi had done a lot of interviews saying he's just struggling with confidence right now and just trying to get there, and he posted the fastest lap time. And then Hamilton climbs 11 grid spaces and is in the top 10 to finish the race and scoring points for Ferrari. I mean,
Hamilton came out and said Kimi's going to be fine too because he's got Toto.
Oh, completely.
Right? I mean, Hamilton
absolutely.
said, I know who he's behind. I know who he's got behind him. Toto is going to be in the background doing everything he needs to do to make sure Kimi, and for that matter, Russell and Mercedes are going to be fine going forward. So
Absolutely. And again, still very much so by several seconds. I mean, it's McLaren's Constructors' Cup to lose, and I don't think anybody can catch him.
Oh, I don't think they could even lose it at this point. I mean, if we're being honest.
Red Bull really did some big changes, obviously, and this is finally coming off of the firing of Christian Horner, or the removal of Christian Horner, I should say. Red Bull's still there. They're not going. Max is still winning races. I mean, he won the sprint this weekend, which was awesome. Yuki is finally getting the car figured out, so he's starting to progress a little bit.
Potentially.
I'm sure not as much as the team would like, but he's starting to find the car. I do love seeing that Liam Lawson is still showing his colors and is exceedingly
seems to be racing pretty well in that Racing Bulls car.
Red Bull really made I think a poor decision in changing drivers so early in the season. And I think Liam is definitely showing that to them right now. Kick is or Sauber, excuse me, are finally getting their car figured out and having better finishing races and places in the grid. So all in all, I love Spa this weekend. It was great. Next weekend is Hungary. A lot of good stories there, I'm sure. Still a lot of upgrades and things like that to come to the cars. But overall, great F1 weekend. Loved it. Caleb,
Two things to finish this off, and we'll move into the spoilers of spoilers for Fantastic Four. Robert, two things I want to get your thoughts on as well.
Bring it.
First off, and I hope I say this right. I feel like I don't know why, but I have trouble remembering it properly. Le Rouge? Is it Le Rouge? The corner, the turn?
You're talking the hill?
Yep. I think it's
I
called
believe
Le
it's
Rouge.
Le Rouge.
Greatest corner on the F1 grid right now. I mean, is there anything that compares?
Yeah, Rouge. No, there's nothing that compares. And to be quite honest, Caleb, once you get to it and actually get the chance to watch it, that moment when they are in Spa in the F1 movie, it's just, oh my god.
Oh, that's in the F1 movie?
Oh, they do Silverstone, they do Spa. I mean, they do a lot of the actual tracks.
I can't wait to see that. So that's a 17% grade. Did you know that?
Yeah.
17% grade for anybody that's been to Colorado and gone through the mountains. When you go up to the ski slopes, the most you'll see is 7%.
Yep.
And that feels crazy steep. So if we're talking 7% crazy steep, think about 17% and then doing it at $180. It's wild. It's
What
absolutely
race
wild.
is this weekend, Robert?
We got the Hungary race.
Hungary. The second thing I want your quick thought on, Robert, based on the finish of that race, Max's out clause in his contract is no longer viable, and he will be guaranteed with Red Bull next year.
Yeah.
That ends what
His
I
contract
believe
is until
is a
2021.
domino effect of chaos that could have happened.
Yes.
To where now, really, it kind of goes back to where we were at the start of the season with just really filling the 2 Cadillac seats now, rather than seeing what could have been a ton of musical chairs because of Max leaving Red Bull.
And supposedly those chairs have been filled. Bollettieri is one of them. I'm not entirely sure of who the second chair is. So that is
A lot of
very
rumors.
interesting
Cadillac's
dynamic.
kept it very tight-lipped, and it's going to be interesting to see who they announce and when they announce it for sure.
I'm looking forward to it. Cadillac's going to be a great addition to the grid. Already excited for next season. We're halfway through this season. Pinky, what do you got to say?
I'm excited. Let's do some racing in Hungary, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's great. A lot of good stuff. So 7:00 in the morning, baby. Race weekend on Sunday happens.
Love it.
I don't
All
get out
right,
of
so-
bed that early for a lot of people, Robert. You're a lucky guy.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Spoiler!
without further ado, leave now if you don't want to know what's going down with Fantastic Four, because these gentlemen are about to give you the full-on tea.
All right.
Please, good
so,
sirs, take it away.
Pinky, you got to see it first, and then I saw it on Saturday. Already talked with our mutual buddy Andy, who's been a big supporter of the show. Shout out to Andy. Andy and I saw a lot of eye to eye on a lot of the Fantastic Four. But I am curious. Let's start with what your review is, and then we'll get into mine.
Well, let's first of all, we got to say it right. Andy is our number one fan. He
Understood.
has not missed an episode of anything that we put out, including Smack Talk and Raw. So, Fantastic Four. Way better than I expected. Way better. I know you and I had talked. As soon as they announced the runtime, we were like, an hour 55 minutes. What are you going to do in an hour 55 minutes? Like, that's a lot. I do think the movie did. Go ahead.
What's up?
I apologize. I want to put this out there real quick before you guys start breaking this down, because I think it will help in the grand scheme of things for the I want to say more of the nerd side of things, not so much as me, because me may not know as much detail about everything as you guys do. Comparatively, Superman and what James Gunn just did for DC and what Fantastic Four is doing right now for Marvel. I know, Robert, you were very concerned about Fantastic Four. Are these, would you say, about as close to equal playing fields as you can get, or is there a clear winner?
For me, there's a clear winner. That was actually what I was going to cover in some of my review as I finish things up. So we'll get there, because I know Pinky's also got some thoughts on that, and Pinky and I share a lot of the same thought line on that. So
perfect. Apologies, please.
No, all good. So Pinky, let's take it away.
So I have a long history with Fantastic Four. I still remember watching the original cartoon with Fantastic Four, and they hit everything to a T. I love the fact that this movie was futuristic, but still felt like you were in the 60s. Had that vibe to it, even though there was a lot of technology that you probably wouldn't have had in the 60s here. But this is a different universe, right? Yep. So, and I thought they just did a really good job with the characters. I think Robert and I agree. Pedro Pascal is literally just Pedro Pascal.
We're getting burnout.
So I like Pedro Pascal. And there's certain actors. The Rock. The Rock is The Rock in almost every movie he plays. I'm still going to go watch it. I'm still going to enjoy it because I like The Rock's character. But I can be honest enough to be like, he's the thin guy. Like,
doesn't that automatically take away points from the movie, though?
It does, and that's
okay.
Yeah, like to me, I think the guy who played the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards, in the original movie was better. He had that quirkiness a little bit better. He was more eccentric than Pedro
So
Pascal was able to play.
with Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards, and kind of what Pinky's getting at with that is you don't have that nerdness. You don't have that intellectual being like you did with Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, where he was that intelligent,
Embodied
high
the
IQ,
role.
embodied the role. Pedro Pascal was still Pedro Pascal in that, I get, I'm going to say all of these things and you're going to listen to me because I sound nice. And that's not, and I don't want to degrade him down that far because that's not quite true, because he does play a decent Richards, but he doesn't have that I'm a super genius and this is why you need to listen to me, and this is my mind all of the time.
Okay.
And in the dialogue in the movie, Vanessa Kirby's Sue Storm covers that quite a bit, but you never get that same reciprocation from Pedro. Vanessa Kirby, and I'll come back to her in just a minute, but she absolutely stole the show.
Hey, I meant to ask you this last week, and I apologize. You know, I love asking you guys questions because I can't help but want to educate myself more.
Mm-hmm.
And we know I'm terrible with names for actors. Why it took me this long to just realize this week, I don't know, but she's the chick from Mission Impossible, right?
Yes.
That plays the arms dealer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
I like her. I like her.
No, she's great. And so I'll come back to her in a minute because I really want to end on her. Yeah, she absolutely stole the movie. So we'll come back to her in just a little bit. So now going from Reed into Joseph Quinn's Johnny Storm and Pinky, I definitely want to get your thoughts on this because I loved his interpretation. However, it was lacking. There were two big things that were missing from his character. Number one, you do not get the iconic flame on. That's not in the movie at all, which is, I think, a big miss.
Is that a big comic book? Like, that's what he says in the comics every time
Absolutely.
he goes ahead?
That's how he gets his powers.
So they don't say it at all in this movie?
Not once. Exactly. Totally threw me off. The
Okay.
second thing is that while the Fantastic Four have been the Fantastic Four for a while, you don't have that swagger. He doesn't have that womanizing feeling. They really gave Johnny a brain in this movie, but they didn't give him the, I'm the ladies' man. I'm gonna going home with you tonight.
The arrogant
you tomorrow.
confidence.
Exactly. The only thing that you really get is a quick moment of him doing the suntan lotion pose. And then there's a second moment where he's trying to explain his experience with the Silver Surfer, and that they had a moment, and that John, it's a woman and she's space naked and she's on this surfboard, and that's not what I'm trying to say. That was the only thing you got of that swagger womanizer feeling, and that for me really missed. But overall, I really did enjoy his Johnny Storm, but those two things really did not set for me. That really bothered me in the story. And
I feel like that's Disney woke, right? Because it's not cool to be a womanizer for the most part.
Question.
He's a ladies' man.
In the comics, and maybe I didn't read them, again, trying to educate myself here, but it always came off to me as, while they say womanizer and things of that nature, that carries a very negative connotation. But I feel like his character, and again, I could be way off here, but from what I've known and read very little of what it is, it wasn't a negative portrayal of those things. It was more of a boyish charm, overconfidence, bordering on cocky at all times kind of thing, rather than a dirtbag sleazeball kind of thing.
Exactly.
So it's more as a, there goes Johnny again, but we all love him, rather than there goes Johnny again.
So if you watch the original Fantastic Four with Chris Evans as Johnny,
right, and that's how they portrayed him. Loving, but true to family.
He's a hothead. He's arrogant. He's over the top. This one is very subdued, very like.
And that's not the character at all, right? Like, I feel what I'm hearing from you guys, and then I'll just shut up for the rest of this and try to soak in as much as I can. But what I'm hearing from you guys is really good movie with very poorly casted.
So I wouldn't say that. So the casting is there. What I would say is Marvel finally figured out how to do a Phase 1 movie again. They really hit the points of like that you don't need to see anything else. This is its own thing, but we're going to give you the background of these characters to grow them. Which I'll get to this later. Was with part of my issue with Avengers Doomsday is that it's for me it's rushed. There's not enough background going into these other people to get to Doomsday right now. And so coming out of Johnny Storm with Aben Moss's the Thing, he did a great job of portraying he's in his mind he's shunned by society, but society loves him. They appreciate all of the what he stands for and who he is as a superhero. A lot of the toys even you see with the kids, they have the Thing, and they're always egging him on to lift different things, and they're like, hey, let's throw the car, and he's like, and he's joking with the kids, and he's having that relationship with them. But then when he meets and I'm assuming, and I can't remember if this is her in the comics or not, but I would assume his future wife, when he ends up like she takes care of him and all of these things, it's hard for him to navigate those adult relationships, and that pays off towards the end of the movie, with him finally going out into public and not being afraid to be who he is because he wants to.
I don't think they did that very well, at least in the movie. And again, when you only have an hour and 55 minutes, you don't have a lot to go on. They didn't play on the Thing's feelings of like not liking himself. In the comics and in the original movie, he has those moments where he has that self-image, like who he is, what he looks like. People think he's a monster, and that messes with him. In this Fantastic Four, that wasn't really brought up at all. Mm-mm. The kids like him. This girl kind of shines to him. He doesn't have those issues. And again, in an hour and 55 minutes, you don't have a lot of time to show that. Maybe they have some of those scenes on the cutting room floor that we didn't get to see, but that part of the Thing was not portrayed like it had been in the past. And again, it's been done already. So do we need to do that again? But it is comic accurate. That is his character. He is the one that has is been turned into something that makes most people look at him and see monster, not the kind, wonderful person he is.
Absolutely.
And that's always messed with the Thing. So they didn't really flesh that out. Could they do it in the future? Sure. But they don't flesh that out in this movie at all. Which, with the runtime, you got to cut something.
Now, going off of fleshing out a character and things before we get to Sue Storm, they really did Galactus solid. That was awesome. His presence, his aura, his character design, the ship he devoured, like all of it.
That was like your biggest concern going into the movie, wasn't it?
Because again, like when you have with the original Iron Man, the Ironmonger, who is a prolific villain, not quite like Batman Joker-ish, but like maybe Two-Face and Batman, what I would say. Okay. Ironmonger is a very consistent villain. Well, they killed him off immediately. And you're like, well, okay. So knowing that with this movie, how they're going to do Galactus was a big deal, they did it right with how they take care of him, if you will. And I don't want to get too much into it.
I mean,
this is the spoiler. Everybody that didn't want to hear this already left, so get into it, my guy.
So go ahead, Bingy.
I was going to say, Galactus, to me, is like Green Lantern's Parallax. And they did Parallax horrible in that Green Lantern movie. That's why it was awful. It was not good. Galactus is awesome. And you really have, and I thought they did a great job of bringing in that fear component of, oh my God, he's going to eat the planet. Oh my God. Like,
and it brings everybody together. It brings the whole planet together to literally transport the Earth so Galactus doesn't find them.
So
Galactus is a celestial, right?
Yeah, he is the celestial.
Okay, who's the celestial in Eternals?
Ooh.
while you do that, Robert, so one of the things that Galactus does, which I thought they did a great job of, if he says, if you give me your son, Reed Richards and Sue Storm's son,
It's Tiamat. It's Tiamat.
I'll let your world live.
Because Franklin can create his own universes, be who
Is
he
he the
wants
most
to be.
powerful in Marvel?
So to basically put this into context, so Caleb, you'll understand this to a point. He makes Galactus his herald. Silver Surfer is the herald of Galactus.
Right.
But no, Franklin Richards makes Galactus his herald. He is, and that's part of how they're building in Doomsday, is Franklin is going to have this major role.
I know a little bit that he's like, his powers are just
they're off the charts,
so wild and off the chart. Like, he is the Omega mutant, right?
He makes himself a mutant because he wants to be.
And like, doesn't he like have his own rules about he only uses his power like once a year or something weird because he's so powerful if you use it all the time?
I can't remember that
I can't remember specifics.
Exactly,
I just remember reading a couple things over the years where it's like, this dude is like, Superman has always talked about being like OP, right?
Oh no, this
is like the epitome of OP, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's actually how. So once the Fantastic Four basically bait Galactus into taking Franklin, they end up pushing him through this black hole, thanks to Shala Bal, the Silver Surfer, because she finally finds her humanity in a sense, and banishes him. So they're trillions of light years away from Earth, and it's going to take him forever to get back to Earth. So once everything's all taken care of and resolved, it's 4 years later. Franklin is again a super genius, and then you all of a sudden get a cut of Robert Downey, and this was confirmed, of Robert Downey Jr. in the Doom cloak, playing with Franklin, and it's 4 years later from when the movie, or the original events of the movie, ended.
Is what's Doom's real name? I'm drawing a blank.
Victor Von Doom.
Victor Von Doom. Thank you.
Yeah, baby.
Comic book accurate is such that they were all friends, partners until they all got their powers, right? Isn't that somewhat accurate, I think? And then even when he's Doom, isn't there moments where Doom's like an anti-hero, isn't he? Kind of like good and evil.
He's a villain.
He's evil.
He is evil.
Okay, fair.
So he, if I remember, originally was on the spaceship when the Fantastic Four got their powers.
I remember that from the first movie, but I can never know if that's like truly part of the comics of how that all went down, or if that's just for that movie.
And so with him, he because he used to be this like beautiful Bruce Wayne playboy, gets disfigured and he hates himself, which is why he dons the mask. And basically is like wanting to enslave humanity. I mean, that's why like the back of this shirt is "The world is mine." Like this is my domain. You're not taking it.
So yeah, Dr. Doom's backstory is nothing like that original movie.
Okay. That's what I thought, but there is truth in the fact that they were all I don't know if friends is the right word, but business associates, partners.
So in his backstory, he met Reed Richards. In some storyline, he built a machine to communicate with the dead because he wanted to talk with his mother. And Richards told him there would be flaws. It led to a catastrophic explosion that seriously damaged his face and helped give him his powers.
Okay.
And he is like to the intellectual level of Tony Stark. I mean, he is this genius.
Isn't Reed supposed to be the smartest in Marvel, I thought?
He is the smartest. Reed
Okay,
Richards is
okay.
one
So
of, yes.
Stark
There's different tiers
and Doom
of
are like a
intelligence.
level down is what you're saying.
Because
Okay.
in the same breath, Peter Parker himself is also just as smart.
Okay.
However, he just deals with New York crap. So and that's part of where a lot of the intrigue comes from Robert Downey Jr. taking this role is you're establishing an essential. I mean, we've referred to this as many times. He is like one of the Mount Rushmore of Marvel villains, if not like the person on Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
And so with a lot of the backlash to RDJ, it's because this character himself is a very unique person. So if they're going to tell the Iron Man Doctor Doom story, okay, now we're working, but that's not what this is supposedly leading to. So to all of a sudden have Victor Von Doom brought into the universe is a very big leap of faith for Marvel. And they have to nail it. They have to nail it. And so, Caleb, to answer your original question, as far as Superman, Fantastic Four, and whatnot, Superman overall is the better movie.
Okay.
Because there is more emotion, there's more of an understanding of where the character is going, and you also have that advantage with it just being a singular hero. I will say that, but with how they also developed the universe for the DCU going forward was more well done. Now, I said not too long ago that this is a good standalone Marvel film as the Fantastic Four. However, you are essentially going from this is your last theatrical movie, and because they changed the release date, you are now going to get the next Spider-Man with Tom Holland, which at this point isn't confirmed for Doomsday. Then you have Doomsday with all of the unanswered questions from Eternals, Shang-Chi, and so on going forward. There are many Doctor Strange. There are so many loose threads going into Doomsday that at this point, are we just letting all of those go? Because and this is one of my biggest gripes with Marvel is, A, you gave us Shang-Chi, which was one of the best standalone Marvel movies.
It's pretty good.
And then you end it with a credit scene of Captain Marvel, Bruce Banner, and Wong talking about the rings sending out a call to something.
Right.
And there's been nothing on that. And we're in 2025. It's
So,
been years.
I was wondering if they were going to tie that in with this movie and the Silver Surfer or Galactus or something. You're telling me there was nothing.
Because this Earth with Shala Bal,
Oh,
this
right.
it is not in 616.
Right.
And now, I mean, Caleb, since we're already in doing spoilers, I'm just going to go ahead and bring this up for you. Thunderbolt's end credit scene is the Fantastic Four spaceship that they are flying in the movie coming to 616. So that's here.
That felt really obvious.
So that is the only continuity we have for any of the most recent Marvel projects.
So they brought the movie ends with them bringing their Earth into 616.
So no, just the spaceship. It's just the Fantastic. Well, there's been interviews that may counter this, but it is the Fantastic Four spaceship.
So they left their Earth to come to our Earth.
supposedly,
for lack of a better way of saying it.
However, that part of this in one of the interviews is that, is it the Fantastic Four on the shuttle, or is it Doctor Doom?
Feel like, and correct me, Robert, or throw in your 2 cents, and then we can get final thoughts from Pinky on this topic as well, and then do our wrap up. But is Marvel, have they gone too far down the rabbit hole and now are just throwing darts at the wall with this multiverse shit? Should have they focused more on like 616 for the storyline before they started trying to mix everything up?
So, without the multiverse, some of these other projects can't happen. While a lot of the main projects are still in 616, they had to create a multiverse to tell other stories. Because when you go so many movies without bringing in a mutant or something like that.
Right, but aren't those all in 616 to begin with? So it's just they shot themselves in the foot from the beginning and now are having to play these weird storylines to solve their own problems?
To a degree, which is part of the issue when now we're bringing in Doomsday the Fox universe and all of those characters, because we already got Kelsey Grammer at the end of Marvels.
Right.
So there's still this big question mark about where this all goes forward. And because in some degree, again, with Franklin Richards being a mutant because he eventually makes himself one, that also leads us to possibly think that there's going to be some future tie-in with this to 616. Because they did confirm Miss Marvel, the younger of the three, to be a mutant in her series. So we'll see where this goes. Yeah.
What? That makes no sense. She doesn't have powers without the bracelets.
So, yeah.
Why? Is she considered a mutant in the comic books?
Mm-hmm.
So then they did a terrible job of portraying her because all her powers came from the bracelets then. And that's not the case?
In the finale of the show, they confirm that she has a genetic mutation for her powers.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yep.
Yeah, they did.
That was the first confirmed mutant in the MCU.
So the genetic mutation allowed her to use the bracelets? Is that what they're saying?
In a sense, because she like enlarges her wrists and whatever. Like, yeah, it's.
Yeah, I just thought that was the power of the bracelets, though. I don't remember the genetic mutation.
Yeah, I'm
gonna have to go back and rewatch that now.
Yeah. No, it's a whole situation, which I'm like, again, now you're bringing in other questions, and you're not answering any of them.
Yeah, Marvel's doing a terrible job of tying things together, or even just tying a loose end in a knot and moving forward right now.
And I will end. This will be my final thought, and we'll wrap things up. For each Superman and Fantastic Four, this was a make or break for them in different situations. This was a make or break for getting a universe off the ground, and Fantastic Four was a make or break for maintaining a universe going forward. And Superman did it better, and James Gunn is working with a charted plan. Marvel right now is just pulling shit out of a hat, hoping that it will land. And that is why when it comes and Doomsday does hit the theaters, I am going to be watching with a held breath, because this will be the fall of superhero movies for Marvel, or it'll be an absolute rebirth. We'll see where this goes.
So basically, what you were fearful of a Fantastic Four was all for naught, if I'm hearing you correctly, because it neither set them back nor moved them forward. It was just a solid movie that doesn't really do anything one way or the other.
I wanted to love Fantastic Four. I really liked it.
Okay. Pinky, what are your final thoughts with the Fantastic Four and where we're headed?
Just a good movie. It's fun. I enjoyed it. I think Superman's better. And when it comes to the summer, F1's still the best movie of the summer.
Robert was saying the same thing to me, which I was surprised to hear, but that's cool to hear. Because to me, that's exciting for movies going forward.
When I left F1, I had feelings. I had emotion. I was like, wow. Like, Superman, great. Fantastic Four, great. Good stuff. But I didn't like, F1 was different.
Which, Caleb, I don't know if it's coming here, but they did confirm officially on the IMAX newsletter, F1 is being re-released like Top Gun Maverick was in IMAX.
Nice.
I implore you to go see it. If I have to be a babysitter for a night, I will do it.
All right.
Go see this movie.
We'll figure something out.
I will go with Robert. We'll babysit. We'll throw some Lilo and Stitch on or whatever. Like, we'll have a good time.
Uncle Spice and Uncle Pinky time. Let's do it.
I love it, fellas. All right, Robert, final thoughts for the evening, good sir.
Hungry this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Kind of got a slow couple weeks going forward for movies here. So don't be expecting a lot of new reviews. I'm probably catching up on some old things. However, there are a lot of good TV shows that are going to be coming back out. We'll recap that next week. But otherwise, hey, everybody, enjoy the time with your family. Make those moments last. I celebrated my mom's 50th birthday this weekend. I made her cry. It was great. We had a wonderful time. Just enjoy those moments, guys. It's awesome.
Pinky?
Well, final thought this weekend, or this week. I'm going to have to say R.I.P. to the champ, to the guy, Hulk Hogan, who really made this thing special. He carried that company. He made us all have hope. He made most of us 80s kids do our prayers and eat our vitamins. And he did some things as an individual that maybe, shines a poor light. But when it comes to what he did for wrestling and for us kids of the 80s, he was still a special human being. So I will love that. And then, hey, guys, it's SummerSlam weekend, baby. Let's go. So
I need to find my belt. I don't know where it went.
Dude, I still love that you have the little child's belt.
That's somebody, little elf ran off with it.
Dude, something. I gotta find that shit.
I'm gonna end with a PSA because we're trying to build our platform off of different values, I would say, than what has been the common situation for conversation and debate in general over the last who knows how many years.
Okay.
If you're talking with somebody and they give you an opinion, a take, and a reason for having that, and you turn around and your response because you don't agree with them is you don't know ball, stay the fuck away from us. Because I hear that and I'm going to immediately think you truly are uneducated in the sport. Because all you can think to do is attack someone personally rather than have a conversation about the opinion or the take. And it infuriates me more than anything. We are doing things differently. We will continue to do things differently. We want to talk about anything and everything. It's why our name is what it is. It gives us free reign to have any conversation we want to. But even if we don't agree with somebody's take, the only person that's allowed to call anybody dumb or stupid for what they say is Pinky to me. If anybody else does it, stop. Stop now.
I'll say it if we're talking about nerd shit.
I will call you dumb, Caleb, but I won't say you don't know ball.
So, with that being said, when you have an opportunity to have a conversation and debate a hot topic with those around you, your family, loved ones, friends, inner circle, whoever you may consider that to be, do not take those moments for granted. Cherish them. Take advantage of them as often as you can. You know we do. We live by what we say. That's why from time to time you'll see one of us not around. because we are doing just that when the moment calls for it. And if you support us in any way, we cannot thank you enough. Please like, follow, share, subscribe. We know it's cliche, but the more you do it, the more opportunity we have to continue to do this and grow. And that allows us then to bring more of you in and participate and hopefully enjoy what we're doing. So thank you to everyone.
One of us.
We appreciate you. Fellas, can't thank you enough for listening to me all the time. Till next week.
Cheers.
Peace.